Good evening and welcome to Just the News. I'm Faye D'Souza. This is your nightly edition of everything important that's happened in the country today. Let's get straight to it. The Union Health Ministry has now said that pregnant women can and should be vaccinated against COVID. This comes after growing concern on whether pregnant women can be vaccinated. Now, you'll remember the Association of OBGYNs or Gynecologists in India have been writing to the ministry for months, asking that pregnant women who are particularly vulnerable to the virus be allowed to be vaccinated. Until last month, lactating women were eligible for vaccination, but pregnant women were not. Dr. Balram Bhargava of the ICMR told ANI that the Health Ministry has given guidelines that the vaccine can be given to pregnant women. Vaccination is useful for them and should be given. Pregnant women can now register on CoWIN or even walk into the nearest vaccination center and get themselves vaccinated. This comes after the National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization recommended that pregnant women be vaccinated as well. The Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, has said that India's medical infrastructure is well prepared to deal with a possible third wave of COVID. According to PTI, while speaking at the India Global Forum, the minister said economic activity is picking up. She said the government has planned CPSE privatization drive, which is on course. The government aims to mop up 1.75 lakh crore rupees in this fiscal from minority stake sales and privatization of organizations. She also said, and I quote, "No one wishes a third wave, but on the infrastructure, medical infrastructure, I think we have given that kind of attention. We have announced different measures to improve on the medical infrastructure in tier 2, tier 3 cities, not just those in metropolitan towns. The ramping up of medical infrastructure, looking at different segments of the population, looking at children, is happening at good speed. God forbid if there is a third wave, we are medical infrastructure-wise well prepared," end quote. India has now become the third country in the world after the US and Brazil to report 4 lakh COVID deaths. Apart from these three countries, Mexico is the only other country to register over 2 lakh COVID deaths because of the pandemic. Meanwhile, India's deaths per million of the population, as per government official numbers, is the lowest at 287. Although earlier this week, according to a report by the Wall Street Journal, India has undercounted its death numbers by hundreds and thousands. This is because only deaths that occurred in hospitals were officially counted. Experts believe that an accurate count of COVID infections and deaths is a very important part of understanding the big threat of new variants of the virus. The Health Ministry on Friday has said there's been an 86% decline in COVID cases in India since the peak of the second wave. Addressing a press conference, Health Ministry Joint Secretary Love Agarwal has said under continued focus of clinical management, the recovery rate, which was 81.1% on the 3rd of May, is now 97%. The Health Ministry has also said that 34 crore vaccine doses have been administered so far, and the daily average vaccine rate is 39.89 lakh doses. The ministry also said that it is scientifically possible to prevent a third wave if adequate precautions are maintained. The Joint Secretary of the Health Ministry, Love Agarwal, has said vaccination is a marathon process, not a 100-meter sprint. We are likely to miss the larger picture if we focus on single everyday data. Meanwhile, India reported 46,617 new cases and 853 deaths in the last 24 hours. A shocking video emerged from Madhya Pradesh where a stampede-like situation was reported in a vaccine center because only 280 doses were available and over 600 people turned up. The viral video of the incident showed people rushing, pushing each other when the shutters were only half open. According to the district immunization officer, and I quote, "The crowd tried to open the shutters themselves and get inside to ensure that they were vaccinated. The situation was brought under control in about 15 minutes. It sometimes happens that a larger crowd assembles at a certain time. Since this was in the morning, people who work in the fields turned up for vaccination." In the meantime, a couple of states have changed the restrictions because of COVID. Goa has extended the COVID curfew until the 12th of July. Shops will remain open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Salons and outdoor sports in stadiums will also open. Uttar Pradesh government has allowed the opening of gyms, cinema halls, multiplexes, sports stadiums at 50% capacity starting the 5th of July. Gyms in containment zones will remain closed. According to the Financial Express, the government spokesperson said Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath announced the relaxations in view of the improving COVID situation in the state. According to a survey conducted in the state of Karnataka, 37.8 lakh students out of a total of 93 lakh students, that's close to 40%, did not have internet connectivity. The report said that 31 lakh students did not have access to digital devices or phones or tablets or laptops. 8.6 lakh had no radio or television in their homes. This comes after the Karnataka High Court asked the state government to conduct a survey of class 1 to 10 students. Karnataka's Education Minister S. Suresh Kumar has said Education Department is setting up Android mobile banks at the Taluka headquarters where donors can give their unused or additional smartphones to help these children. He added about 45,000 phones have been collected so far. According to a report by PTI, the External Affairs Ministry has said that a drone was spotted over the Indian High Commission complex in Islamabad last week, and Pakistan has been asked to investigate the incident and prevent the reoccurrence of such a breach of security. This comes after an explosive-laden drone was used to carry out an attack on the Jammu Air Force Station on the 27th of June. A 22-year-old research scholar who was working as a project coordinator at the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, IIT Madras, was found dead on campus on Thursday evening. The police suspect it to be a case of suicide. In the meantime, an assistant professor of economics at IIT Madras has resigned from his post, alleging incidents of caste-based discrimination at the institution. Professor Vipin P. Beetle's resignation email, which is now public, reads, and I quote, "There are multiple specific instances of discrimination, and I shall be pursuing appropriate action to address it," end quote. And news now from the world of business and economy. Petrol prices have been hiked for the 33rd time in less than 2 months. This is the first hike in the month of July. Prices were hiked 16 times in the month of June. Mumbai now pays 105 rupees and 24 paise for petrol and 96 rupees and 72 paise for diesel. Chennai has crossed the 100 rupee mark on both petrol and diesel. A total of 130 countries, including India and China, have supported President Joe Biden's plan to implement a minimum corporate tax of 15% for multinational giants across the world starting 2023. Now, the 130 countries were participants in working level talks hosted by the Paris-based Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. They all agreed to a minimum tax to prevent countries from shifting their base to another country because of lower tax to make better margins. A multilateral treaty will apparently be drawn up in 2022. The 130 countries in this agreement represent more than 90% of the global GDP. The 15% tax bracket expects to earn $150 billion of additional global tax revenue annually. Now, this minimum corporate tax doesn't mean that the country will have to raise the taxes for everyone. This means that countries can have lower taxes for their domestic companies and have a top-up for multinational giants who are operating out within their borders. News coming in from across the world. Antarctica logged temperatures up to 18.3 degrees Celsius, a new maximum temperature recorded for the region on the 6th of February earlier this year. The United Nations World Meteorological Organization has now confirmed. Now, according to the UN Met Organization, Antarctica has now become one of the fastest warming regions in the world, registering a rise of almost 3 degrees Celsius in the last 50 years. Of course, that melting ice is going to be of concern to many coastal cities across the world. Israeli Defense Forces carried out airstrikes late on Thursday night on what it described as a Hamas weapons factory and research facility. The IDF says that it struck Gaza because militants launched explosive balloons in the south of Israel, starting 4 small fires. It was the 3rd time Israel has carried out airstrikes in Gaza since the end of the 11-day war fought in the territory's militant Hamas rulers in May. Also, from the world of science, Virgin Galactic founder Richard Branson will be traveling to space on a test flight on the 11th of July. Branson's planned visit is scheduled 9 days ahead of Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos' space on the 20th of July. Virgin Galactic has received approval from the US FAA to fly customers to space following a successful flight in May. An update from the world of sports. Indian swimmer Mana Patel has become the first Indian female and overall third Indian swimmer to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics. The Swimming Federation of India has said the 21-year-old's participation has been confirmed through the university quota. Mana will take part in the 100-meter backstroke at the Tokyo Games. Earlier, two other male swimmers, Sri Hari Natraj and Sajal Prakash, qualified for the Olympics as well. Talking about the same, Mana Patel has said, it's an amazing feeling. I heard about the Olympics from fellow swimmers and watched it on television. But to be part of it this time, competing with the best in the world, gives me goosebumps, end quote. One piece of positive news before we leave you for today. Short film Sheer Kurma has won the Best Short Film Award at the Frameline Fest and has qualified for the BAFTA later this year. The film starred Shabana Azmi, Swara Bhaskar and Divya Datta. The film also recently won the Best Short Film Audience Award at the 34th Connecticut LGBT Festival. The film talks about LGBTQ people and how people have perceived notions about sexuality. Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Just the News. Remember to like and share this video, comment on it. It helps us push the video further. Let us know how we can improve this broadcast for you. And of course, I'm not going to let you go without your quiz for today. There are 2 billionaires who are going to head to space in the next 1 month. What are their names and who's going to go first? That's your quiz for today. Thank you so much for watching Just the News. Remember to tell your friends and family that we're putting out such a bulletin. If they're also sick of all the noise that they hear on television, here is an alternate way to get your news. Thank you for watching. Good night.